Welcome back to another book club episode. This is Documented Podcast in collaboration with Palm Wine Central Podcast, where we hold nothing back as we unpack the stories, the scandals, and the emotions that keep us stuck between who we are and who we want to be. Today's episode is all about Damilare Kuku's bold, hilarious, and painful, honest novel, Only Big Bum Bums Matter Tomorrow. Now, let's be real. The title alone has us clutching up, has you females clutching your pearls and waist trainers. And for you men who use waist trainers. But once you step inside the world of Lagos aunties, cheeky friends, and risky decisions, you realize it's not just a story about surgery. It's a mirror, one that asks who decides what's beautiful, what's valuable, and what's enough. We'll gist, we'll roast, we'll reflect, and maybe we'll even confess a few of our own big bum bums. Hopefully. If we do, dreams, the things that we tell ourselves will finally make everything okay tomorrow. So grab your Zubo, find a comfy seat, and get ready. Because today, we're not just judging Temi's decisions, we're talking about all the ways society makes us trade our peace for perfection. Let's get into it. The title alone, right? Only Big Bum Bums Matter Tomorrow. When you first saw the title, what did you think? What did you think about it? Let's start with T. What did you think about the title?
I thought it was interesting, and that's what I was like. Only Big Bum Bum Matters Tomorrow. I wonder what this is about. But I was expecting something lighthearted, to be honest. Like, centered around, okay, just Big Bum Bum and thing. But the book was quite a surprise.
Nice. All right, Mana, first impression of the book, right? Before you started reading into the chapters, the cover, the title, did it fit the bill?
I would say it was deeper than what the cover, showed. When I saw the book cover, I was like, okay, it's a good light-hearted way to end the year. And then it was going on. I think I had to rewind a little bit because it sounded like it started in the end or in the middle because it wasn't making sense. Because I'm like, where is the big mumble? But yeah, it was deeper than what the picture, what seemed to portray, or the interpretation of what the picture was.
True. Yeah, it took me a minute to actually get into it too myself, and then all the different parallel stories, right? To put everything together, it takes a little bit of focus to actually get everything, going. But we'll get into it. Josie, the mirror check. This one is a little bit funny because we all probably do. When you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth, or when you take a shower, you're about to leave the house. Especially women, you guys always spend a lot of time in front of a mirror. So in this book, Temi has a morning ritual where she looks in the mirror and feels like her life cannot start until she gets a big bum bum, right? Have you ever paused on your own? Have you ever paused your own happiness or delayed something you wanted because you believed a physical flaw needed to be fixed?
I would say yes and no, but it's more of something that wasn't really a pause. It was more of something that I worked on to make myself feel better. And I would say it's color of teeth and smile. So, but that didn't stop me from going out and talking to people. I just worked on it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okay. And back to you, T. The discount, she wanted to get for her bum bum surgery. Do you think that was smart, or do you think that was a smart investment, or was it crazy? Is it something that you even when you see a discount, is something that you want to gravitate towards?
Hey, I'm a bougie queen on the budget. So I'm all about discount. I'll take the discount anywhere it can come. I think she was smart to want to have to pay, a discount for what the surgery was going to cost her. Hey, paying a fraction is always better than paying a whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mane, what do you think from a healthcare perspective?
Discount wise, it makes sense, but the whole surgery part, I don't know about that because I personally I don't like hospitals. I don't like surgery. I don't like cutting, sewing, none of that. So I wouldn't have gone for the surgery period. But I don't know about any medical. First of all, when when you start seeing discounts for medical surgery, first it's questionable because it's not something like you don't hear discounts for you don't hear that too often. But then something like that, I was wondering if it was really real that they have discounts for those type of surgeries. But they say we live and we learn, so maybe there is.
Oh, do live and learn. Okay. Last question there for Icebreaker and Josie. You get this one. From the first few chapters, what did you feel about the author's writing? Did the mix of humor and heartbreak work for you, or did it take a while to adjust to the voice?
It took a while to adjust because I had to keep trying to understand who is she talking about and how does this story connect to the past chapter or the past phrase, because she kept interjecting different people in. She would say something about this person, then she would go back and pull something about somebody else. So but yeah, but also I think yes, I had some concern or some challenges trying to put all of that together, but I think it helped me stay focused so I wouldn't miss the story. There are some books, some audiobooks you listen to, and somewhere in there you zone out and you continue because the story is continuous and you catch it. But for that one, I listened to it on the audiobook and I had to pay attention so I don't miss my connection. I think that was what it was. Yes.
Nice. Okay, let's get into it. T, if you can please help us. What is only big bum bums matter tomorrow? What is it about? If you had to give, a brief summary about it, what would you say?
I think that it's a metaphor for all the things that we want out of life that we do not currently have. That's based on all the individual stories, right? Because I was thinking that this was only about Temi, which is I think the main character, you would say. I thought the book was going to be just about her and her insecurity about having, a flat derriere. But reading everyone's story, I think it's about those things that we feel insecure about, those things that we feel like if we have our lives will be full, but then we don't currently have. And so I think that it's a play of that flaw that we all have to deal with it, in the present. And for now, it looks like that's the only thing that would matter ever, but it's not, if that makes sense. So,
Mane, what would you add to that?
I would add that it brings to light the things that society makes us think that if we have it, then we will be happy or successful. So it's more of a societal view of what success is, be it in what you have or don't have. And I could somehow, because from the title of the book, I was like, I don't think I can relate in the sense that. But as the book unfolded, I was like, oh, okay, I can relate in this aspect. I can relate in that aspect based on how I have seen certain things because society feels that, you're not having it, you're not it, or you're not successful. But reading, different books has kind of helped me to to draw the line. I said, okay, society can think what they want, but if I'm okay with where I am or what I have, then to each his own.
So as I was reading the book, I was wondering to myself, would this be a great read for men? Because there is a ton of conflict, internal conflict, personal conflict for one, then two, female to female conflict, right? Like you could see it within the book. Of course, it's a good read for women, but Josie, do you think that this would be a good read for men, and why?
Yes, I would say it would be a good read for men because that will open them up to the perspective, the female perspective, how females view beauty based on the eyes of the men. Pretty much, we're looking beautiful. We're adding a bum bum. We're adding a chest. We're adding a lip. We're adding here there to make ourselves more presentable to the male figure, to the male gender. So when the men get that perspective, then that way they can be more sympathetic, maybe, or at least it will give them a different perspective, a different realization that, oh my goodness, so this is what women go through just to make themselves look presentable to us. Some men don't care, but some care. So it just helps you realize that when you put such a high expectation on what the female looks like, these are all the things she's thinking about. These are all the things that she has to go through to achieve that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Can I add something to that?
Go for it.
Yes.
In my opinion, as much as certain books or like this one caters to maybe more men than women, and other books more men than women, I don't think that there is a book that is not good for either men or women, even if the book caters to just one side of the gender, right? Mm-hmm. Because, like Josie said, when they make these impossible standards, these are the things that women have to deal with in the background that the book lists a whole lot of, right? Going through the stories of these women. But I say this also because men make 50% of the society that we live in. So nothing should be off bounds to anybody. If we are supposed to make society better, we're supposed to be empathetic, nothing should be off limits to each other. Like, it just makes sense. If all the women read the book and maybe change their perspectives, we have 50% of society men who would not change their perspective. So I think if there's a book out there that can do anything, everybody should be reading it.
Let's talk about the characters a little bit. Mane, which character did you enjoy reading the most, and what about them drew you in? Was it their humor, their vulnerability, their bad decisions, or the way they stood up for themselves?
I would say I love the way Temi stood up for herself. In the sense that, she had her struggles, she had her challenges, but she did the best she could with what she had to get what she wanted. And she had a mix of humor and trying, being, and all of that. It's like I listened to the book twice, because the first time I started, I was like, something is not making sense. I went back to the beginning. I was like one quarter way through. Then yesterday, because I had finished the book I think 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I need to refresh my memory. And the whole time, whenever her name came up or whatever, something about her came up, is like it somehow, I drew courage from her, from standing for what she wanted, even regardless of the consequences. She was bent on getting surgery. Even she wasn't so scared about the fact that she may not make it out of surgery, because surgery, voted to service a thing. So she stood out to me as a person, stood up for what she wanted, and figure out a way to express it, especially in an African family. I don't remember being able to express my feelings growing up, especially with adults and all of that. So, yeah.
Good one. Okay. T, which character did you like the least, and why? Were there any you could not forgive? Oh, and were there any you could not forgive even after you understood that backstory? Character did you like the least, and why? And were there any you could not forgive even after you understood their backstory?
I would say Ladun. She Ladon just pissed me off, that whole book. Because here you are, your biological father did not want you. A man practically begged your mother to marry him so he can raise you as his own. Gave you all the love in this world you could have ever imagined. Then you come and find out that he's not your biological father. You run away and you cut your parents off. And you're mad at your mother that she hid the truth from you. But now you're talking to your dad. You're not talking to your mom. And then very soon you cut off your dad. Now your father dies without you mending that relationship, sort of. Now you've run away from home for 5 years. You're still mad that your mom kept that a secret from you. I'm like, what did you want? Exactly. Like, what was the point of this? You want to go and find a biological father who did not want you. I'm like, I kept repeating every time they say something about her. I kept repeating to myself, like, what part of this man did not want you? Don't you understand? And your father gave her all the love she could have ever needed. She never suspected that she was not his biological child. But she was mad at her mom even 6 years later after finding. That shit just pissed me off. I did not care what her backstory was. That's just, to me, that...
And you know what made it worse?
What?
To go and be with the guy that, you know, she was with. And I'm like...
Because she wanted to piss off her mom.
Yeah. And I'm just like... There's a theme in all of these books with women getting upset and doing, you know, like...
That part. I was going to say that, like,
self-destruction.
why would you make a choice like that to piss somebody else off, but you're hurting yourself? Something in the other book, Regretting You, which I didn't get a chance to have the discussion, is whatever that girl name was, she slept with Miller to piss her mother off. And I'm like, how does that even make sense?
I don't, yeah. You run away with the guy you barely know to piss your mom off. Because she gave you what she gave you, a loving father. Explain to me how that. But she just kept pissing me off till the book ended. I just realized that I was still mad at her.
Okay. Josie.
Yes.
Romantic relationship. Did you find the most interesting in this book? Is there a relationship you absolutely despise or secretly relate to?
I wouldn't say relate to, but the one that I admired was the one with Hassan and Tito. Yeah, that was a good one. You see love, and then you also you see understanding, you see empathy, you see consideration, and I think it's just love, fundamental love, because he loved her enough and said, you know what, I'll take care of this child, it's not mine, I'll take care of it. And in the society we live in, if you look at the societal consequence or advantage of what he did for her, he saved her so much trouble. Because a female having a child outside of wedlock, it's a taboo. People are looking at it like, so, and then it mars every other relationship, because now you have to explain, how did this happen? And the consequence through which or under which she got pregnant is a whole traumatic experience for her. That was just trauma on its own. So having to always relieve that and now get through that healing, and now every time you're in a new relationship or you're going to meet someone, you have to explain, and then your family is shunning you because they think you were wayward, and there's just so many things. So he came in peacefully, stepped in, and took over. That's so. And then he loved her. There are some men who come into that situation and they will never let you forget what they did for you. Every day, if you blink, if you roll your eyes, they're gonna say, "Oh, is it because I took that child?" That you will hear it. It will come out. The family members will know. I'm sure the dog will have been, a counterpart to it at some point, because they would have told him that, hey, do you know that kind of thing. So the fact that he was so loving towards her, he was so loving towards Ladu, and he loved Hassan, and they made it work, and even till the end. That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know in the summary you mentioned that that has a lot to do with that do people like Tito exist? Yes, they do, but most times they are one in the rubble, pretty much. They are there and they exist. Some of them have been marred by past relationships with people who took them for granted, you know, and some have just weathered the storm and stayed good. So, but they are there, and people like that exist. And not all men in Lagos are mad. Some are nice, like Tito. Yeah,
Did
and
that?
then
She did there. Good one. Good one.
I know, right?
What she
I
did
see
there.
what you did there. It's a good one.
yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think there was another aspect you asked about, right?
Um, is there any relationship you absolutely despise? I think you. No, yeah. Was it a relationship that you despised?
Yes, the one between her sister and her husband. I don't remember her name. Hassan's sister.
Jemai?
That yeah, Jemai. Yes. So okay, so two perspectives to it. Her relationship with her husband was toxic, and the fact that he used the children against her, um, just mirrors, or it compares to the relationship that Tito has with Hassan. But also then the relationship that she now has with Hassan, it didn't make sense to me. Your sister doesn't want to go to school because it's challenging for her. She has a learning disability. She tells you, and you take it the wrong way. And so you go off and you abandon her. And she goes through all of this. She's sending you letters, she's reaching out, and you refuse. I don't know how I would see that. It's more like people are um Hassan was right in her perspective to say, this is not my strength. This is my strength. This is what I'm going to do. And then growing up, she was the one teaching her son how to read, how to pass exams, and all of that. So it's more like, don't drag people with you if they're going to be dragged the whole time. So, yeah, those were the two relationships that I admired, and the relationships that I despised or didn't quite like. So, but in terms of any that I secretly relate to, I would definitely fight back. Yeah, no, no, no. I just no. That's me. I will fight back. Better die in the process than be beaten. Sorry, but I'm gonna go down like that. I'm just going to no. I have seen so much that either or. So, but yeah, story for another day.
Gotcha. Okay. Mane, which character duo or relationship do you like the most? Did you like the most the book, and what makes your decision, or the decision, like the duo you pick, right, feel the most real or the most emotionally satisfying?
Most emotionally satisfying would be Hassan and Tito. The whole consideration, the whole kindness, the fact that he wanted to protect her,
Yes.
knowing that that wasn't his child. And yeah, that's the most. I mean, Josie has already gone over, their relationship. It was emotionally satisfying, and it was good hearing about, even when they had disagreements, it didn't last long. It was like for a couple of minutes or a couple of hours, and there was a scene where Juma described that she couldn't understand how, the child will run away and they're having a good time. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I can't kill myself. Now, the relationship that threw me off was the father to the guy, I don't remember his name, that Ladon was dating, and he was in the US. Because Tito made a statement that if the guy is older than Ladon, it means that he had a child when they were dating, when he was dating Hassan. I don't know if you guys remember that part.
Yes.
When they went to the house to see, to see the guy's parents so they could get married. That kind of put me off, and also the way he left her, the way he left Hassan when she came to tell him that she was raped or something like that.
I almost feel like sorry to interject, but I feel like he was planning to throw a left side on her after they get married. One of those things where now that we're married, oh, I forgot to tell you, I have a child. So, but now she shows up with, I'm pregnant, or like that whole I was raped. So now he doesn't have any one off on her because she's coming in with one.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense, because it kind of put me off, because I don't remember it being mentioned before he walked off, and then he walks off, and then years later it turns out that the fact that even Tito pointed out, was like, oh, okay, if he is older than Vlado, it means he had her, or he had him before Hassan had Vlado. But yeah, that even though that relationship was short, it just kind of put me off, because he didn't even care to listen to what happened to her. She said she was raped. I mean, you didn't have to believe the story, but just hear her out. But yeah, that relationship was like, And then Juma's relationship was like, what is she? Is she straight, or is she confused? Or she's trying to figure herself out? But I was just like, okay, she herself is drama. She herself is drama. So I was just like, she ain't that serious. But yeah, Tito and Hassan were emotionally satisfying, and that guy, whatever his name was just like, forget you.
Therese, let's talk about Tito real quick, right? Briefly, and then move on. He dies somewhere within the book, right? I don't know whether it's middle, towards the end, or whichever. But does the author's kill of Tito, is it to punish the reader emotionally, or to say that good men like him are too pure or too soft for the madness of Lagos?
I will go with punishment, because of everybody that could have died in that book, it definitely was not Tito. I swear, it did not. He was the only sane person in that, on both sides of that family, and then he had to die. But again, that brings us to the harsh realities of life, right? That the good ones always go first, which is crazy. I don't know if it's an unwritten rule of life, or but the really good ones, they go first. I guess she just wanted to throw in a touch of reality in there, but I was like, to be honest, this book would have finished with nobody dying if I wrote it. But that plot twist on there, I think that was the pivot part of the entire book. Because if Tito, well, let me not say if he did not die, but it was in his death that everything came to light, So I guess that it does play a role in the entire story. But Damilare could have written that book differently and not killed Tito.
Facts. Okay, let's talk about what this book really is about. Big bum bums. You know what I mean? Have you guys ever wondered what you would look like with a less bigger bum bum than what you have right now?
I have. I have to.
No. Josie, she has. Therese, you said no. So Josie, your own is.
I said yes.
Yeah, I'll come to you in a bit. I say
yeah. Okay.
Josie, is yours? Was it bigger or smaller?
It was bigger. Because I have well endowed sisters and the well-endowed aunties. So I can foresee where I should have been.
So you're Temi in your family.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, see, you ain't thinking bigger or smaller.
I'll think both ways. I have imagined if it was bigger than what it is now. I don't want that possibility for myself. I've imagined it lesser. Quite frankly, it's more convenient for me. But to not have at all, I don't think I want that. Just because it would be an added struggle for me in the society that we live in, if I'm being honest, to not have any at all. So no, I don't want that. That alternative of not having at all is a truth that I would not like to leave. But would I be okay with lesser than I have now? Sure. More? No, I don't want more.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, you have pancakes.
Mm.
Would you consider surgery?
I probably would. Again, just because society is what it is.
Mm.
And then, like Josie, I come from a very well-endowed family. Like top to bottom, even the skinny ones. There's not like they said at funerals, there's not a dry eye in the room. You know, in my family, there's not a flat back. All generations, there's not a flat back. So if I turned up to be that one, I think I would have been leaning heavily on that side, unless I would have had a lot of mental work done on myself. Yeah.
So let me ask this question then. When as women, as most women, when they put on clothes and when they go out, they say, "Oh, I'm not putting on clothes, or I'm not dressing or put on makeup for the opposite sex. I'm doing it for myself," right?
Mm-hmm.
In this situation right now, we talk about big bums. Does that statement stand true that they're doing it for themselves and not the opposite sex?
I think that we tell ourselves. Let me know. I've not done surgery. Let me put that disclaimer out there. I've not done it, and I'm not oblivious to the struggle that people who don't have it face, right? But I think when we say I don't do this or I don't dress up for other people, I think it's something that we tell ourselves to be okay with the choices that we make. But I feel like everything we do revolves around, in some degree, other people. That's why we don't wear pajamas to work. That's why we try to look some kind of presentable before we go out. That's why we try to tidy the house before somebody comes over, even if it's just to make a little effort. So to some degree, what we do is tied to other people. We cannot deny that. And yes, if you go out and as much as I really don't care, if you go out and you don't get not one single compliment, you come home, I'm not going to lie to you, you would start wondering if something was wrong. You would. And it's not because you're actively seeking that compliment, but it's just the way things are set up. There's a degree of validation that we all crave from other people, regardless. Sometimes it's too much, and sometimes we pretend that it's not, but it's there. As long as we live in the society that we live in, that influences almost everything that we do. It even influences what's in, what's out, what's culturally acceptable. There's no way nobody under the sun would tell me that you do not do things because of other people. There's nobody under the sun who can tell me that, and I believe we are full chest. Not a single person.
Any thoughts, opinions, Josie, Mane?
Yeah, if you're not obligated to, no, okay, so if you don't voluntarily do it, you are obligated to.
Bam,
So
that's the word.
Yes. So a lot of us would not mind wearing pajamas to work, but it's not acceptable. Yeah. You know, in the movie industry, you have to look a certain way to fit a certain script. So if you decide and say, you know what, no, I like my pancakes, I like my flat chest, I like me natural. You're gonna get in there and someone's gonna tell you, this role requires someone who is curvy. Um, you in or you out? Because if you're in, my dear, can we see you in 1 week with what we need? And if you say no, we're like, okay, that's fine. Next, you know, because that's how it is. Um, Same thing with just everything, just life. If you don't voluntarily do it, you will be obligated to. Yeah.
To add, in terms of the body shape, I kind of relate with Ladon in the sense that there was a point where she had to start wearing loose fitting clothes to avoid attention. And I want to say I've been there and I'm currently there. I've never really thought of what would happen if I had a flat butt because genetically, family wise, is not a possibility. So I cannot say that I would not have thought to build it up. But knowing that as a kid, I dreaded hospitals, surgery, and all of that. For that reason, I probably would not think to enhance my butt that way surgically, maybe other ways, like, padded, whatever. But when I moved to the US, an in-law made a statement about my thighs. She said, "Your thighs are too thick for your age." I was 19. That was the first time, and it was a woman, like a distant relative actually. So my mom's youngest sister's husband's wife. No, my mom's youngest sister's husband, his brother's wife. She made that statement, "Your thighs are too thick for your age." And I think I was 19. And ever since then, I dressed in a way that it will not reveal, because I have the 8 figure, whatever that figure everybody desires, which sometimes when I hear people desire it, I cannot understand, maybe because that's what I have. But then I dress in a way that is not visible, because that particular statement always, even though as an adult, or even then I was an adult then, and what's the word? As women grow, your body shape takes into, whatever all of that is. So it was over 10 years ago. And today, whenever I dress, it's that thought always being at the back of my mind. So I think that the way that we see ourselves, there is something that initiated it.
Yes.
Like maybe for Tammy, if her, I think it was her dad's mother who said, "Oh, she's too skinny, she's not eating enough. She will feed her meat when she comes over." Maybe that was the first time she thought that something was wrong. And then she went to school and then she heard it all over again. Meanwhile, for Ladon, she had all that, girls or women wanted, but then she was wearing clothes to hide it. So it's funny, the one thing that people are wishing they didn't have or trying to get rid of on the other side of the spectrum, that's what people want. So I'm just
That's really true. Just right along those lines, let me ask you this, right, Mane? You're speaking about Ladon, right? She was harassed and harmed because of her body. Wow. Temi craves the same body as a ticket to visibility and love, right? Why do we struggle to believe our sisters when they tell us that? When they tell us that so-called pretty privilege can be a trap and not just a blessing. Why is that so?
I think that you can only understand something from experience. Imagine, so Ladon, even though she told Temi that she was beautiful, Temi did not really believe it because she thought that beauty was in the butt, but then her sister had what she wanted and she did not want to deal with the attention. So I don't know if I'm answering the question, But I feel like it's hard for me to understand what people without the bum are going through. Which is why I cannot understand why you want to go under the knife to get that, because it's an external thing, and it may or may not get you what you want. It may get you that temporary, satisfaction of you're being noticed for having a big bum bum, but then long term, does it really matter? I don't know if
I'm
that answers the
actually,
question.
yeah, I'm glad that we're talking about this because it's at the end of the day, it is the core of what the book is, right? And I was glad that the author shed light on Ladon's story because sometimes people look at curves at the body and think it's all glamour. There's a whole dark side of it that unless you have it, I cannot explain. First and foremost, you get over sexualized, you get objectified, you get harassed. It's real. Then that's not even talking about, and this might come crazy, but people who have big butts will tell you, not even talking about the inconvenience of having something that big. You get?
Yes.
So it's not, you look good in picture. You look good on paper. Don't get me wrong. Your clothes fit a little nicer. You are a little appealing to the eye, but you don't get to choose the kind of attention you get. And the attention is overwhelmingly more negative than it is positive, in my opinion. And so, like Mania said, I probably would never relate to someone who struggles with that. But guess what? Ladon had a big bum bum. She was still dumped. Her fiance still left her. She ran away with this boy who really did not care for her. And she had all the things that a woman supposedly to have to be a complete woman. She still had all the things happen to her like everybody else. The only difference is she got the attention, but that attention really did nothing for her, if we are being honest. So I think it's and sometimes when I look at somebody, and by all means, your body, your choice, but when I look at someone else, like, of all the things you can pick in this world, I will never understand why a big bum bum is one of the things that you will want to have. And I'll say that and they say, oh, it's because you have it. Yes, it is because I have, but it's like there's a whole side of this that I don't think nobody has told you, but you're about to find out. You're about to find out real quick. And don't get tired of it. And now you see this whole trend of celebrity going and taking things out.
Yes.
And taking it because it wasn't really all that. You got it, you got the attention, but it ended there. You're not getting any extra anything except you work in certain industries where maybe you get more gigs, you get more tips or whatever, but it ends there. It really doesn't add much of a value to your life, in my opinion.
It does help the self-image.
It helps self-image. It helps you integrate better into society too.
And get over that phase.
Yes, at least people are not looking at you like, how you a woman, you don't have something that all women should have. But apart from that, to be honest, that's where it ends.
You mean
I also think that
great?
Say that again.
No, so you mean negatively integrate?
I mean, either ways, if they can go somewhere and merge in society, and that's what they wanted, I guess that will count as a plus to them.
True. You got a point there. Yep. Go ahead, Mane. Sorry.
And I also think that the book should help for those who read it to understand that whether you have it or not it's not about the fundamentals of who you are. And in a family of 10, everybody may not have it. Just because three sisters are shaped that way, it doesn't, because genetics has a funny way of playing out. So I remember, like, she mentioned a story. I don't know if it was Lana or Temi who mentioned a story of being, somebody is tapping her butt. And I had it when I just came to the US. I went to an after party spot. It was in someone's basement, and it turned out to be, these older men. And I was just walking by. I don't know if the person mistakenly brushed my thigh or intentionally. Boy, everything in me almost came out. And it was around the same time that this person made a comment about my thighs, and ever since then, it's like I would unconsciously stand at a distance next to men. Like, don't mistakenly brush my side or intentionally, because then it puts me in a space to want to be defensive, and then it appears as if I was physically or whatever. It's This is getting emotional. That's a part of the book that really, it really hit a nerve. But then again, like I said, I know people who have done the whole butt thing, and I'm like, okay, did you? Which is a question that I was curious about at the end of the book. What would have happened if Temi went ahead with the surgery and she realized that, there's not much to it? Because I don't know if it's Jumai or Big Mom who said, I had the big butt and I still don't have a man.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the honest truth is, like, you go, to take the knife or the needle or whatever they use, they remove it, they come and put it on this place. But that one time, did I see them go to your brain and remove things I'm going to put in your heart and say, let me also enhance the heart too with some knowledge from the brain too, you know what I mean? So, but that's besides here or there.
Random question though, when they do that, where did they get the fat from? Did they get the fat from the person getting the butt, or is it from somebody else?
From their belly.
From the person. They take it from like belly or thighs.
Things like that, yeah.
So what if somebody is skinny or tall and they don't?
They send you have to go and get your weight up.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sometimes they put silicone in it though, because
they do silicone, but now I don't think I don't think they do.
I thought the silicone was for the breast implant. Wow, okay.
I think that was the old way. Now I think they mostly do fat transfer. Yeah. So if you're skinny,
you don't have it.
No, if you're skinny, I've actually known people, if you're skinny, you make the appointment, the consultation and everything. They send you to go get your weight up by like 20 pounds more or fat or whatever, so that you come back and they'll take it out and put it. You have to go and get your weight up.
That's why some of these women be hungry. Jeez, man. That's why they be hungry, man. Just hungry for no reason. That makes sense.
I don't have anything against the butt implants though, or butt transfer or butt enlargement. But the one thing that I have a concern with is put the one that fits your body. Don't put in butt that makes the person look like a chicken leg. So at the end of the day, it's more like, what's the goal of the butt enhancement? Is it to make yourself feel better, or is there a competition? Because I would use what I'm familiar with, and that would be Nollywood. There are some celebrities you see in Nollywood movies, and you're trying to understand, where did you do this? And didn't the person measure you? Didn't the person look you up and down? So yes, you went and gained the fat. So when they were transferring it, didn't the person give you a body structure? Or you just said, you know what, put 10 pounds there, but I only weigh 50. So you're carrying half your weight in the derriere, your backside. So, and then the legs don't fit. And it's just chicken legs kind of situation stuff. But I think it's more like, what's the goal? Yeah, but then also to the one thing I wanted to mention is that towards the end of the book, the writer actually throws in some kind of realization, because her best friend's brother was actually seeking her out while she was in grieving process, trying to set up a relationship with her. So that, I think, to me, that was saying you could still get attention, from someone if they really like you. and not because of your body. So the fact that the older brother was seeking her, trying to have a relationship with her, was trying to say that I don't care about your flat buttocks. I just like you because you're a good person. So I see that as trying to say, um, the bum, if she was doing it to get attention, she can still get that attention without the butt.
Mm-hmm. And some of them things stink. But anyways, that's a topic for another day. I did have this one question to ask though. We're talking about insecurities, correct?
Yes.
We're talking about people insulting you, like, in the book they say, oh, you stand like an electric pole, oh, you look like a candle, things like that, right? We're talking about insecurities. What about somebody who's bound on a wheelchair and they cannot move, or they have one leg, one long leg and the short one, and then people are insulting them and they have no way to go and get surgery? What about them? They still have to go through that every day and still sit on that chair and cannot walk, like regular, but you only look like candle. And that's the whole problem. Make it make sense.
Can I answer that? It's the same thing they say. Okay, so I will answer it from two perspectives. One, the grass is always greener on the other side. That's one. But people forget that that grass is costing water for the owner. Okay, and so if you want your grass to be greener, you gotta do the same thing. Okay, but then the other perspective is that we complain about what we don't have when there are people who see what we have as a luxury. So that's the thing, is the person in a wheelchair is not concerned about the butt, because obviously that they're sitting on it. To them, they want to be able to wake up in the morning and get up and be independent and get things done for themselves. But we who can walk, who wake up in the morning and we're not even thinking about, am I going to be able to get out of this bed by myself? We just get up, we go do our things. We are the ones who have gone past the basic needs. It follows that hierarchy, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Once your basic needs are taken care of, then you start looking at the next level, then the sufficiency, and then all of that. But if your basic needs are not taken care of, you don't have the mental capacity to think about anything else above that. So someone in a wheelchair is still dealing with basic needs. How do I be more independent? While someone who's already independent has overcome that basic need and is thinking about how do I get to be self-fulfilled and have fulfillment of life? So the bombs and body enhancement, that's the next level. The wheelchair is basic need.
See, all I'm gonna just say is this: people continue getting these big bombs. The day somebody would discover how to make men's penises longer the way they are making these your bombs, we'll see where the real competition will enter. We'll continue.
Oh, they already do.
Yes, I was going to say that.
They already do do that.
There's penile enlargement. Yep.
I mean, like go and do surgery like this.
Yeah.
We'll discuss after this. Oh, okay. Let's move on. All right. Looking back over the whole book, what did you feel about the author's writing? Was the language and humor sharp or fresh for you? Was it sharp and fresh for you, or did it ever feel like too extra or too, on the nose?
I think it was very relatable is what I would use. Anybody who reads that and feel it was extra, I just think it's just something that you have not experienced in life. Right. I don't think there was any exaggeration with any of the characters. I think everything was very relatable. I could relate to a few stories in there. Actually, when it was Ladun's turn to tell her story, it actually took me back because I had very growing up, I have had very similar experiences, just like what was in the book with her. And it was taking me back. I was like, wow, that was a terrible time. You know, it makes you, you know, like Randa felt with that comment about her thighs, right? Sometimes it makes you so so insecure that you don't even want to leave the house, because you're just like, you will just go out there before you get to the store to buy bread and come back. It's almost like somebody will kidnap you and put you in their car and run away. Do you get what I'm saying? You have people heckling you, you have people catcalling you. You know, you have the ones who feel bold and entitled enough to come and tap your ass in public unsolicited. You know, so reading all of these stories and reading Latin, I was like, oh wow. And you will explain this to somebody and they will think, oh, you are probably just being dramatic. But it's not. I had a problem with one of my professors in school because of this. My whole class knew about it, you know, and everybody was just like, oh my God. I would go in, you know how back home at that time, you had to go into the professor to get your results slip from the university. I would go in and that man would lock the door. And I'll be in there fighting for my life because I want to take my results slip. And he'll be like, if you don't let me touch it, I'm not giving you your results slip. And we are in his office and I'm fighting for my life. He has locked the door. What are you going to do in that situation? So sometimes it makes you not even want to go to places because it's like, I'll just go there and somebody will just want to touch my butt. Like, let me feel it if it's soft. So unsolicited comments like that. So I think the whole writing of the book was very much relatable. As much as it was fiction, the stories are fictional. I think she drew inspiration from real life experiences.
So I could take it that the unsolicited touch is one of your pet peeves in the book then?
It was.
Okay.
It was.
Mana and Josie, what other pet peeves would you guys say you experienced while reading this book? One each, please.
I don't know if I would call it a pet peeve, but I have a hard time with men not expressing or explaining themselves and just disappearing. The guy who went to the UK, what's his name? The guy who went to the UK, what's his name?
What's that guy's name?
I even forgot his name because I just wanted to move on from that part. So bad.
Let me breathe. Okay.
I'll tell you in a bit.
At what point did he realize that whatever he had with Laden was not going to work? He was doing it because his dad said he couldn't. Okay, as adults, I don't know how old they were. Just say that this thing is not working. Now, you may or may not have to go into details, but just being able to, I don't know, say officially end this thing, than for the girl finding out on Facebook that you're swinging somebody else. Like, what a way to find out, you know? Just say that, hey, this thing is not working out anymore. Or my dad says we can't be.
Mofe.
Yeah, just say that this thing is not, it's not what I thought it was, or it's not working out. Then just disappear into thin air. And then with social media these days, you're swinging somebody else and you're calling them your wife. You know, that part had me like, where, like, communication is oh, okay, that one. And the other one was what? Well, yeah, you said one. That one got me. And then he was trying to come back. Did he try, or am I making this up in my head?
Yeah, I think he
reached their
friends. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that was a biting one for me.
Okay. Josie, what about you?
I'd say one of my pet peeves is professors or people in authority not realizing their boundaries and exercising it, trying to use their power manipulatively. So because that teacher, the teacher got a girl pregnant and got a couple and slept with Aduni. So when he eventually got the Hausa girl or the Muslim girl pregnant and ended up marrying her, Aduni was like, "Oh my goodness, he slept with me too." So it's when teachers use their authority in the negative way that pisses me off. I don't think it's right in any ways whatsoever. You can explain it.
I was glad they made him marry that girl. I was so glad. I was like, I think they need to do this more often to men. Maybe they're gonna stop.
How many are they going to marry?
It's okay. If you do the first one, you will marry. And the way they force him to marry, he can't just be out there now doing anyhow. Because that I forgot the Hausa girl's name. What her brothers would do to that man, he better act right. The way they bundled her to that man's house. I was like, good. Now we are both tied down. Let's see what I liked that.
Let me ask this one question real quick, and then we'll go into some fun questions. And this is about Tito again. Was he a saint, a symbol, or just another man who couldn't survive the chaos? What emotions did his storyline leave with you? We're all going to touch on it, so please keep your answers brief. T, you go first.
I think Tito was an exemplary demonstration of what loving a person is, whether it was his wife or his children. He was very understanding. This man was a professor in the university, and he married a woman who was uneducated. And not one time in this book was there anything that gave it away, or in his speech, or in his manner of relating to her, or talking to his children. He had even worked out. He worked out on his friends when one of them came and was talking about women funnily, and he was like, I don't play about my wife. And he got up and he walked out. And so I was just like, I think he evoked all the right emotions. He's a good man, Savannah.
Yeah. Jose, what you think?
I think Tito is someone who is very I'm trying to find the word, who is very updated on the societal pressures, and he has such a good heart that he decides that, you know what, this is something that I can do and I'm going to do it. So I think he has a kind heart, and that played out all throughout his time, or all throughout the time he was alive.
Okay. Mane?
I think I love the fact that he was not only loving to his wife and kids in their presence, he did that even outside. And not only to his own wife, but to women in general. Like, he was protected. And I think it's what, if not every woman would like. Because it's one thing to be all loving and kind when you're at home, but when they are there. But then when they are not there, you're like, forget them.
Can I add one other thing? Mane, are you done? Okay. So I also appreciate his relationship with Jumai. No matter what was going on, he had a spot for her. Kind of just was okay with her, was nice to her. There are some brother-in-laws that give you one side eye, especially if you have a history of or if there's something in your life that has not been working well. Any little thing, but you might cook for them. But I think Tito's personality benefited her as well.
Yeah, it was because of him that she stayed in their house too, right? After everything she did to her sister, she had to end up living in her sister's house, and Tito was the one who made it possible. Because left to her son, she would have kicked rocks.
Yeah, and he left a will, but he didn't leave a will. Everything is will for his own sister. I was like,
Yes.
wow, okay. He took it to the limits.
Yep. Okay. Mane, would you rather have Ladon's perfect curves, but be married to a man like Ivan's, or have Temi's so-called flag back, but be married to a saint like Tito? What does your choice say about what you value more, body or emotional safety?
Emotional safety.
Okay.
Because I have the body and shoot. I feel like there's some kind of disrespect that comes with, having a certain kind of body. Because I get comments like, oh, people would pay anything to have the body that you have, and then you're hiding it, you're not flaunting it on social media. And I'm like, I'm not about my body. I actually get turned off if I get a compliment about my body as opposed to about who I am as a person. Like, it turns me off to the point that my watch will signal that my heart rate has gone up. Now, you will not see it in my body language because I don't wear my emotions on my sleeve, but I will feel it. But then let me have a conversation and then somebody compliments my mind or my perspective and it's almost like, damn, you see past my physical. So yeah, and again, maybe I'm picking that because I have the curves and I've dealt with what having the curves is all about. But yeah, even if I didn't have the curve, I think that I would pick emotional safety over body because body changes. The older you go, life kicks rocks but emotional safety issue, it doesn't, it's not common. It doesn't come around easy. Finding emotional safety in someone is somebody who has done the work because everybody has some kind of trauma. But seeing that emotional safety is like, no amount of money can buy that. You cannot do a surgery for emotional safety. You cannot add a butt to emotional safety. So yeah, emotional safety all day, every day.
Kind of going off script here, but you mentioned something about you get upset if they don't compliment you about character versus body, right? So let's say, for example, somebody meets you for the first time. They don't know your character. They don't know your persona. They don't know a lick of anything about you except what they see physically, right? But yet they blurb something out like nice curves, for example. Would that still carry the same amount of piss off if they knew you versus them not knowing you at that particular moment?
So there's a way that a compliment sounds respectful versus sexual.
Yeah.
I cannot think off the top of my head and for an example, but you can compliment my outfit or you can compliment how I put my outfit together, as opposed to saying that I like how that ass.
That look right at your full lips and say what that mouth do.
That just even saying it now, I can feel my watch vibrate. Yeah. So if it's one thing to, because again, everybody's visual, physical, men, women. What you see first is the outer appearance. Yeah. Compliment my outfit, compliment how it looks or how it fits and all of that. But to be that specific, especially in an outfit that I purposely did not wear a fitted outfit, but people can still tell that I have curves. It's almost like that person has, in French, they'll say déshabillé de regard. Like, just by staring at you, this person has already, undressed you and all of that. So yeah, it's in a way that it's in the choice of words, I guess, and not so much, and how you say what you're saying.
I think if all your compliments are centered around my body, we have a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Damn, God forgive me, man, because sometimes, should I say this? Anyways, sometimes you know how you look at Catholic nuns, I'll be imagining yo, what's on?
Don't even finish that sentence. Don't finish it. Next question. I'm trying to save you. Don't finish it.
All right. Next question. T, would you rather endure big mommy's starvation discipline? Oh my God. You know what? We are against time, but that was some fuckery. That shit was terrible. Anyways, would you rather endure big mommy's starvation discipline for 3 days or mommy's abrasive sponge bath every morning for a month? Which form of love would you suffer more? Terrifying or more familiar? Like, which form do you prefer?
A month? That's kind of long. I think I'll do the. I can do the. I guess I'll do the bath because that 3 days starvation came with a lot of emotional abuse
All because of prayer.
and manipulation.
I am not
But
this.
mm,
Please, let nobody try me. Okay, Josie, take one belief from the book. Right, take one belief from the book. Like, if society rewards a certain body type, then getting surgery is just a strategy. Getting surgery is just strategy, and decide whether that is real life survival or a giant red flag in your opinion. Say what now? Take one belief from the book, right?
Yes.
Like, if society rewards a certain body type,
Yes.
then getting surgery is just strategy, and decide whether that is real life survival or a giant red flag in your opinion. So take one belief from the book and do that.
I think it depends on where you are in terms of belief. Society can want what they want, but how does it benefit you? Because society is not going to come to me now and say, okay, here you need to go enhance your chest. Why? I'm not I'm not seeking roles that require enhancement of chest or enhancement of butt. So society can expect people to enhance body parts, but it's not a norm, and I'm not going to make it my norm if it doesn't affect me. So my belief is let what society expects affect you in the way that it affects you, for your personal reasons, not because it's general. So, yes. So that everyone is getting a big butt or an apple shaped bottom doesn't mean I have to do it. But if for any reason now, someone says, hey, you know what? If you get an apple shaped bottom, we're giving rolls out that are going to cost you 5 million. I might be like, let me think about it. 5 million for an apple shaped bottom.
I know that's right.
I mean, but just randomly, just to do it to look okay, no, I'm fine. I'm good. So yeah, I'll go to the gym. I think that can help me a little bit more.
Okay.
So yeah, so in terms of the belief, I don't believe in societal pressure. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. See, real quick, right? The ending, which really pissed me off. Thank you, Kuku Damilare, for such an ending. If I catch you somewhere, it's on site. But anyways, what did you think about the ending? The book does not clearly tell us whether Temi finally gets the surgery or whether Ladu is pregnant. So a lot of stuff missing. Do you feel cheated by that? Or do you feel the point? Or do you feel the point is that the surgery itself is not the real issue?
I think I feel cheated. Just in the fact that you've guided me all through the story and then you leave the end open to my interpretation. It's like, give me closure. But I think that if you read between the lines, it does tell you, even if not definitively. I think Temi, that's the first time that Temi looked at herself one last time in the mirror because it ended when she passed the mirror going to her room. I think that's the first time in her life that she looked herself in the mirror and she was happy with what she saw. So I do think that that implies she probably is not going to get the surgery done. And then I think it also hinted that Ladun is pregnant because she had made arrangements. I think it was because of that pregnancy she had made arrangements to leave her husband. So, or her man or whoever, whatever that guy was to her. So I think it does imply it heavily. It would have been nice to just write the ending, put it in ink. Let's call it a day. But
You know what I mean?
she had to make us work for it.
Same, I feel like there'll be a second part to this book.
I don't think I want a second part to the book. I think just leave it as is and let my imagination linger. I think part of being a good writer and writing a good book, fictional book, is letting my imagination linger. You know, it keeps you thinking about the book longer after you've closed it. If your mind is able to linger. Now, I don't want to close the book and be like, what the hell just happened? Who was this person who? Now, that's just confusion and chaos. But if my mind can linger and imagine maybe certain ends or protract certain futures, I think the writer has done their job.
Facts. Okay. And lastly, is there anything that we haven't touched on that, you guys would want the readers to absolutely hear or know or understand about the book? Shozi.
Big Bumble matters tomorrow. Depends on who is talking.
Wow. Now we are defining now we are really defining it there. Now we are really putting it in perspective. Okay. No problem. Watch out for part 2, like Josie just said. Depends who is talking. Mane, what's your own?
Auntie, big mummies search for a husband. That was kind of threw me off because she was married, right? She the one was married in the United States and then left her husband with his family and kids, and they came back to Nigeria and then went through this 6 months of this and that, and I was just like,
I think she's actually married to someone right now who does not do anything and who she takes care of. Yeah, I think he's a younger guy.
So I was like, was that marriage officially over, or she just left because his family came and scored and never left, and then she had to leave, and then it was confusing. And, maybe somebody else can really tell us what that meant. Like the whole stretch she had to go to snatching somebody else's boyfriend because she was like he was snatchable. Even before she met that guy, and when she went to see the friend Lara who got married, and she was like, how come she could get married before her? And then when she went to visit her, some prophet came and was, I felt like that part of that story was like out of the blue.
I think for me, my portion would be like, I think so sometimes when we say society this, society that, right, in our minds, we have this image of like grown people putting pressures or certain expectations, like grown people who make the culture, right? Who are culture is composed of grown people is what I'm trying to say. And that's what we picture when we say society this, society that. But I think this book draws something to society. Society starts way young. Because we look at these things in the book, the first people, yes, they talked always about Temi being skinny, but that was all she knew. She did not know she was incomplete until she started going to school. And her friends, her peers that are underdeveloped, that are teenagers, were the ones who started telling her that she was incomplete and she wasn't whole because she did not have a bum bum. So I feel like the book highlights, a portion, part of society where I think we have to start teaching them young about accepting themselves and accepting other people and taking away that unrealistic expectation from the younger generation, because those are the people who grow into the adults who go on people's comment section and bash people's bodies. Those are the same people. It did not start when they hit 30. It had started way. So this book, I think it highlights that part, because most of her struggles was in school all the way to university. They even gave her the nickname, was it BBL, or who was it that had BBL, as for somebody who didn't have and they will be yelling it from at parties and stuff. So, man, it's sad.
How bullying starts. And also, it's not, I would say, yes, we spend most of our life in school as young adults, but then also at home, like how mother, no, it wasn't her mother, big mommy saying that she was too skinny. She'll come over and eat meat to get fat. So imagine you're hearing that at school, you're hearing that in the streets, and then you come home and you hear it too. I think that is more, for lack of a better word, it's more painful hearing such comments from somebody in your house than from a total stranger. Because, but then when you overly hear it from somebody at home, hearing it from somebody outside starts to have the same impact, or even a deeper impact. So imagine that she only heard it at school, but then when she came home, she was praised for her body. It may or may not even out, but the impact will not be as deep as hearing it from, shots fired from multiple angles.
No, that girl ate until she sent herself to hospital multiple times for overeating because she really wanted to gain that weight.
But then you have people who are trying to lose weight. To be the area of life. The irony of life.
So she could have just worn 3 pants every time she got out of the house. Anyways, that's the point. Thank you guys. If you've not picked up the book, please do so. Only Big Bum Bum Matters Tomorrow by Damilare Kuku. It's a great read, if you can put all the characters together, you'll make a whole lot of sense, But anyways, what a ride. Only Big Bum Bums Matter Tomorrow gave us laughter, side eyes, and more uncomfortable truth than we bargained for, right? If there's one thing this book reminds us is that the quest for validation, whether through a bigger bum bum, a fancier job, or a perfect Instagram life, never really ends until we decide that we are enough as we are today and not tomorrow. So here's our challenge for you, dearest listeners. What's your own big bum bum? Like, what's your own big bum bum story? That one thing, yeah. And what's the thing you keep chasing, believing it will fix everything once you have it? What's that one thing for you? We'd love to know in the comment section. Leave it here on YouTube, any streaming platforms or social platforms. And while you're at it too, hit that subscribe button. What's our next read? Our next read.
Psychology of Money.
The money. Yeah.
There you go. Psychology of Money by I forget the name, but he'll be in our show notes, but it'll be right here on the screen. So Psychology of Money will be our general read. What a great way to start the year. You know what I mean?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Mane, thank you. Josie, thank you. T, thank you. For the remainder of the cast, you know yourself. If you're not here, we appreciate you. Fortunately, you couldn't join us for this last one of 2025. See you guys in 2026. Hope you enjoyed your Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody and a wonderful New Year. Yeah. This is Stockholm Podcast and collab with PwC. Catch us in 2026. We start the year with The Psychology of Money. Read it. If you want to be part of a book club, book club, whichever. It's still a group, you know. Let us know, man. You know what I mean? We're looking for new members to join us. So yeah, see, stop yawning. Thank you all, and we'll catch you on a new one. Peace.